and welcome to the SmackDown review. I'm Adam Wilbourn from WhatCulture, joined by Michael Hamflett from WhatCulture, here to review everything that happened on the first ever 3-hour episode of SmackDown. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube. Where we do daily wrestling podcasts where we're not going to review SmackDown, but the show formerly known as NXT 2.0. We do Dynamite, AEW Collision, pay-per-views, premium live events. We have interviews, roundtable discussions, and a round of the week complete. A very good quiz, of course, on WrestleCulture. As I said, though, joined by Michael Hamflett. Oh, I've forgotten to do it again. To review this week's episode of Friday Night SmackDown.
Bloody stupid.
Show of the year.
Well, it's, in literal terms. What is that theme supposed to represent?
Cinema.
Right, okay. Whereas SmackDown, though most weeks I concede, is cinematic. And Fridays is certainly like a movie. There's not many 3-hour movies I like, but that was one.
Yes.
It was on YouTube for free. You don't get many films on YouTube free, other than some ones that I'm looking forward to enjoying that are based on a New Year's Eve. Adam Nicholas recommended to me, starring Paul Rudd.
Don't grass me up there.
But we didn't put it online. I'm just saying it's out there.
I was going to say, you could watch movies on YouTube for a while. In the golden era of YouTube, when you could just upload out and no one was stopping anything.
Like those accounts now, those Twitter accounts that just say, F it, here's this.
Yes.
And it's just like a 3-hour tweet somehow. It was on YouTube, wasn't it? But it was, as well as being cinema and YouTube, this was, of course, on network television in America, wasn't it? Like, as part of a big shift, everything's moving around, things are going to Netflix and so on. I haven't got my upper or my downer. I can't remember where this is. But I thought that jingle you were going to play was going to be the jingle of the network. But I guess without that, I've had to come to you to maybe give us a live rendition.
For all the people at home who are confused, watch WrestleCulture. The opening will help you here, but
it was SmackDown on USA. Watching Smack doesn't work. There's too many syllables.
Yeah, every week I want it. I love it.
This was epic.
It was surprisingly strong, I will say. I was an optimist about the move to 3 hours because WWE is in a good place, but I think we talked about this in the preview. It won't be forever. And there's going to come a time where I'm going to be real sad that this is 3 hours. Now is not that time.
No.
However, often there were weeks where SmackDown didn't really feel like it needed 2.
Yes.
So I was a little bit wary about how it would go for 3. One episode in, so far so good.
Oh, it flew by, and there was one point that I think you can all probably guess that I will remember throughout this year. The noise was ridiculous for that cash-in, but we'll get to it in due course.
That happened on Friday, obviously. By then, the 3rd episode of The Traitors was airing.
Oh my God.
What would you say at the moment has given you the biggest pop? Is it a moment from The Traitors, of which there's been several, or the moment we're going to talk about?
I'm going to say the moment we're going to talk about, but I am heavily invested. Yeah, I went in, right, I watched the beginning of The Traitors, and I was a bit pessimistic. I was a bit like, there's no Harry and Paul in this season.
Yeah, not Harry Enfield and Paul Whitehouse.
Oh, no.
It's not like a British comedy.
But
you sort of feel like...
no Wilf.
Have they started to understand the format too much to make this fun? I had that with the first half an hour.
And then I hated every single person on the show.
Right,
because I'm not going to spoil too much, but it's fairly obvious. One would assume, at least, I'm about 10 minutes before the end, and I don't know if it's been spoiled, but I heard something on the radio this morning, and I'm not going to say any more about, with regards to 3 people having to walk off the show before it's even started.
Yeah. And
I really don't like, it makes me feel about the selfishness of it all. I get it that that's the show. I was reiterating episode 3, of course.
Yeah.
But the whole, guys, who's going to sacrifice themselves? Guys, who's going to sacrifice themselves? That can't be me, obviously, because I've put forward the idea of sacrificing yourself. So that wouldn't be me. Come on, guys. I hate it.
And then somebody will go, well, I guess I could do it. And then everybody will pounce and go, well, I mean, if you think that's for the best, I would do it, by the way.
What, just out of peer pressure?
Not out, but I'd have my hand had shot up first. I'm like, I'll get off the train now. I've got a good feeling about
they
how
should,
this is
they need
up.
to do, I assume they're coming back because I think they need to do 1 year where they go, thanks for coming.
And it's actually...
Because they did it in season 1 and season 3, I think. Maybe. I can't remember them doing it in season 2.
Got off the boat and sat on the raft as well, but that would just be to stop rowing because it looked hard.
God,
looked really hard work, didn't it?
And just I'd have been, quite rightly as he was, fizzing if I'd have got off and watched them sail past 2.5 grand.
Just like a bad stag do, didn't it?
Oh, it was horrible.
Everybody been
horrible.
One person thinks they're the boss of rowing. They're the head cocks.
What? There's a few of them that I want them to catch the traitors this year. Last year I was like, let's go traitors.
Yeah.
I'm a faithful this year.
I like one traitor.
There's one.
Yeah.
We won't say who. We'll maybe save that for the preview because that's giving people sufficient time to catch up because I know a lot of people have been watching season 1 and season 2. Shout out to the likes of Larry Ra was watching it, wasn't he?
Brian was on Taskmaster.
Brian. Yes.
We're sort of ingratiating people with yet more British culture to go along with like rum and crisps and that.
Jonathan Creek.
And Jonathan Creek.
The Fed.
Lovely. Love Jonathan Fed. Solves mysteries using magic powers, but they're all just to do with like old WWE shows.
Yeah.
I'm Jonathan Fed.
Solving this mystery was as easy as 1, 2, 3.
Kid.
Cody Rhodes comes out to start SmackDown.
You missed this, Nicholas.
I've got his microphone and he didn't say anything.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's say yeah.
He's quite liked, Cody Rhodes, I think, judging by this reaction.
Who, me?
He gets into the ring and addresses Phoenix, but doesn't say, what do you guys want to talk about? Because he wants to talk about timing. He says we're on the cusp of changing everything. It starts tonight. SmackDown's 3 hours. Talks about Raw going to Netflix, but his excitement's tempered somewhat because he's not cleared to wrestle because bloody Kevin Owens trying to kill him. He's going to compete against Owens, though, at the Royal Rumble in a ladder match. Before he can get any further, though, he's interrupted by Drew McIntyre, who comes out, steps into the ring, steps to Cody Rhodes, gets right in his face, and hugs him.
What?
He says, you're not on my list, Cody. I've checked it twice. I'm here to look you in the eye and tell you, you're right to screw up your entire life's work. He says, this is the greatest generation of talent in the history of this company, and Cody's the quarterback of all this.
And I mean, folks, where's the lie?
But he's about to screw all this up. There's a guy running around with a replica title like an idiot in the crowd, and your neck's hanging by a thread. He says, look, I know what it's like to want to compete and management holding you down. I know you need a friend here, but before we go any further, Cody interrupts him and says, you want to help me, Drew? Drew's like, yes, I always tell the truth. Cody says, well, I'm going to tell you the truth. You carried WWE through a very dark time. We both left, both worked WCPW, came back, finished our stories.
I knew it was coming up.
Drew's become a beast lately, but I don't quite believe what you're saying. And I know, there's a lot of tension here. I can sense it. You want to shot this title? Come and get it. And Drew's like, hey, I don't want to hurt you, Cody. Look, these idiots in the crowd will forget us as soon as we're gone. I'm just here to help you, Cody. He goes to leave. He steps out on the apron. He says, oh, Cody, one more thing. You need to watch your back. And as he says that, Cody Rhodes is jumped from behind by Kevin Owens, who lays out Cody, and there's a little look between, sort of mutual respect between Drew and KO. And McIntyre doesn't do anything, doesn't get involved. He just walks to the back. Cody's back up now, and they're brawling, and everyone piles in. They do the pull-apart, come back together and pull-apart, come back together and jumping over people, all that sort of thing. Owens gets shepherded away by the officials, whilst Cody's selling, but still bloody angry at that KO yet again.
Yeah, a good brawl between Owens and Cody, made better by some content that made its way online the next day from the production staffer, who was documenting what he does before the show under the ring. And then the camera turns to the left and Kevin Owens is next to him. And he says, don't post this. I'm going to attack Cody Rhodes. The Cody and Drew interaction was that kind of nice, not for right now, good for down the line.
Yeah, they referenced the transfer window and all that, didn't they?
Yeah, you sense that Drew McIntyre will be SmackDown bound maybe as soon as the Raw Netflix match against Jey Uso's done. And great because off the back of fair enough, he's gone on and done other stuff, but off the back of the big loss to Punk, it's almost like those characters can't inhabit the same world for a little bit. And Punk's obviously going to be staying put on Raw, so over Drew goes. And if Cody's still here, then there's a title feud. There's just a rivalry in general. Cody being the one to sort of draw the comparisons between the two is quite nice because Drew probably would have made those himself, but can now do it. Having said, you said we were the same, but we're not, and let me tell you why, and I'm going to beat you all.
Nothing like me.
Yeah, I done it differently. So yeah, like I'd be lying if I said right now, like, oh my God, Drew McIntyre versus Cody Rhodes. But I think that is almost just a victim of the time period we're in.
Yeah.
I think if this was a July segment and you sensed the immediate future of the WWE title and you kind of could think to yourself, SummerSlam taken care of. Here we go. He'll wrap up his business with Owens and then he'll move on to the Drew thing. It's really hard to predict how everything's going to shake out. WrestleMania, WWE titles, Royal Rumbles, main events. It doesn't really feel like right now Drew can be Cody's business, but it's a nice thing to leave there.
Yes.
Like down the line. I was just, when I was watching, I was like, how are they doing that? How are they both just stood there like it's absolutely fine? And then I was like, oh, it's okay, it's 2025. WWE superstars can walk on water right now. Only it wasn't water. It was a new, beautiful blue canvas.
Yes.
That looked the absolute
Bluish
business.
hue.
Yeah, it was nice. And got everybody thinking, well, what if the Raw one's red? I don't think it's going to be red. That'd look like one of them like carpeted, like Brother Love segments or something.
Yeah, it does. It would look like they've forgotten to take something out after a talkie segment.
Yeah. But did you see the black canvas with all the sponsors on and stuff?
Yeah, something got leaked or something.
Yeah, I think it was covering the ring before the SmackDown taping.
That was it, yeah.
But it has I think it's got Fortnite as the central sponsor, and then it's got Netflix on it, it's got Hogan's beer on it. Prime might be kicking around at somewhere.
Yeah,
I don't know.
better.
But yeah, so the Netflix canvas could be black. What if it was just black with just the Netflix logo in the middle in red or something like that?
Oh, I'd like that.
Triple H has had these black canvases before. A couple of his takeovers had the black canvas. With like the white ropes and stuff. So he likes that look. But I don't think it's going to be red.
Snickers.
Yeah.
Cricket Wireless. We've talked about there.
Our friends at Cricket Wireless.
Cast.
Yep.
And a Riyadh season logo.
Oh, God, yeah, of course. Well, Rumble's that.
But yeah, we hopefully get a nice Netflix one. But yeah, more on Cody in a little while. And more on KO, in fact.
What if the ring's just the shape of the Netflix? Just an N? You have to, when you're running the ropes now, you have to run the shape of an N.
I have a question for you both.
Yes.
Seeing as how we're here. Because obviously this intro is quite bombastic of yours, of course, to celebrate the cinematic nature of the TV show. What happens now? Like, because it's not, I don't think you'll have as much fun just going, da-dong, and then you don't get a minute of saluting thin air and all that sort of stuff. So,
it's a good question.
What are you going to do?
We'll probably have to do that saluting one on Raw. I'm sure Sid won't have a problem with that.
I think it'll be fine with it, yeah. Everything's cinema. Put it on NXT, just be on the safe side.
Sid, you'll never watch this, but I am so sorry. This is going to happen to you.
And then just US National Anthem, I assume, for SmackDown, because it's on USA.
You might be onto something there. You might. Should we do like a Pledge of Allegiance, but it's I pledge allegiance to the blue brand.
And Chelsea Green, of course.
And Chelsea Green, yes. This is coming together nicely.
All right.
Let's shoot here. No changes happening because you can't access the soundboard at the moment. So the buttons as they are.
I need to bring my old laptop in for reasons, basically.
So
Good.
A laptop surely corrupted by countless viruses.
I'm going to make it my mission. I'm going to make it my mission to help you achieve this goal.
I will have forgotten. I'll forget this every
you'll
Friday
forget,
morning.
But I will not forget.
Okay.
That's how the Raw riddle became spooky because we'd use all the sound. I'll use a ghost one again.
Yeah.
I suppose.
Do you know
I do want to refresh this. I want to spring some on you.
Yeah. For context as well, I was like, someone made one. I think I made one as well for the Raw riddle. It just never got around to using it.
Yes. I kept saying, oh, that's really good. We should put that on.
Multiple different, just never got on it.
Nothing else on the soundboard anymore.
We'll always have
These nuts.
which was arguably the start of all of this bollocks.
That's what we did there, yeah.
We see the Bloodline arriving. The new bloodline, this is, of course, and Naomi, and Bianca Belair, Nia Jax, Andrade. I'm going to mention it now because I've probably forgotten to write it down later on. The bit with Paul Heyman later on when he's like, well, I can't go through the metal detector. I'm packing. So
even the placement of the metal detector was weird, wasn't it? It was like an APA joke.
Yes.
It was like even if he'd not, I nearly went through that. There was ample space to go.
Yeah.
I think there was a truck parked next to it as well. So it was like, well, if that truck wasn't there, there's just a metal detector.
just in the middle of the... Fancy it?
Because I want to miss, thanks.
Why not?
Don't even think it's hooked up.
Then we got the non-title match. It was Shinsuke Nakamura versus Andrade. Pleasantly surprised by this one, I got to say.
Were you?
Yeah.
I'm happy for you. I kind of thought it stunk.
Here we go.
Sorry.
I maybe it was just Shinsuke's entrance.
You're really fighting for this title with Andrade, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's. I didn't get a lot out of this, and I was left.
I didn't buy like the spinning back elbow near fall.
Yeah.
I still loved watching it.
I didn't. To be honest, I didn't mind Nakamura winning, which is a little bit of a dig at Andrade because I don't necessarily think he. Remember
we thought he was good. We thought it was obvious he pins Shinsuke to get a title shot, and then we just moved back to.
He felt nowhere near it, did he? So I don't know what's happening with him.
His miss is going to be here soon, so don't worry about that. They didn't mess about. Immediately, Nakamura starts striking away at him whilst commentary talks about their time in New Japan. Mm-hmm. If you like that sort of thing, we'll be talking about it later on today with Sidge giving his thoughts, basically on Kenny Omega and then anything else, any other New Japan business, basically.
Yeah.
He does his, he kicks Nakamura out of the ring, does Andrade, and does that second rope moonsault to take us to a break. When we come back, Andrade's firing up the crowd, but he runs into a knee from Nakamura. I still like that Nakamura German suplex run in the ropes because it looks like that is designed to make you hit the back of your head against the ring.
It's so weird because it's quick and it's snappy, and generally speaking, Nakamura is neither of those things. So where did that come from?
Nakamura rips off the turnbuckle covering after this, but Andrade drop kicks him into it and hits a running Meteora. That gets him a 2 count. Hits that, miss, then hit it, moonsault of his for another 2. Sets up for the message, but Nakamura counters. But Andrade hits that awesome spinning back elbow of his. He puts Andrade on the top rope. He puts Nakamura, on the top rope, does Andrade. But Nakamura blocks a superplex and then just slams his head into the ring post, which understandably incapacitates him long enough for a Kinshasa and a 1-2-3. Like 8 minutes or something, this. But immediately afterwards, outruns L.A. Knight, who attacks Nakamura, sets up for the blunt force trauma, but Nakamura gets out of dodge, and Knight grabs a mic and says, one way or another, I'm going to collect what's owed to me, my US title, with everybody saying L.A. Knight.
L.A. Knight was good, wasn't he?
Yes, boy!
In the mood for it. The match never really came to life for me, and it was more a sort of...
We'll flip-flop it back to L.A. Knight, do you reckon, this week?
Maybe. I cannot work out what's going on with this title. It's not... Nakamura winning it was maybe just so he could take it with him to Noah.
Maybe.
And they just reset things with Knight. I did think Andrade was the move, but this was so definitive. Maybe we've been barking up the wrong tree with Charlotte going to SmackDown, and maybe it's Andrade going to Raw. And this was him sort of doing business on the way out as much as you can between brands, you know? Because it was just, he was so, not easily beatable, but 8 minutes for Nakamura to win clean and cleverly. Ultimately, it was good use of tactics. We're going to get, I suppose, a bit of Carmelo Hayes and what seems to be the direction with Carmelo Hayes. But your feud of the year doesn't feel like it's necessarily reaping many rewards right now.
Yeah, he's not done much for either man.
And that's a lot of time wasted.
But it was a good time whilst we in it.
Friends are made along the way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In the back, our boys, Pretty Deadly.
Yes, boy!
Are there with poor Apollo Crews. I missed this all. They're referencing him being a stooge last week. I assume he's fingering people for the attack on Street Profits.
He is. You know what you did there.
Legado walk up. They don't like being implicated in all this, and they sort of attack Pretty Deadly. But then the SmackDown GM, can't remember what his name is. He shows up, breaks it all up, and then says, "Well, let's have a chat after this break." And after the break, he says, you were lying to me last week. Again, I didn't watch it. It was Christmas. But DIY come in and say, hey. They said, in fact, actually, Pretty Deadly. Oh, God, I'm so excited. He's on Raw tonight. And he might say,
hey, you all right.
And the SmackDown GM says, yeah, all on thin ice, you better watch it. I'm like, yeah, piss off, we got the titles. Who cares? And they say, hey, we like you two. Yeah, we love all that, all the stuff you do. You want a shot of these belts? We'll give it to you, but only if we're champions. And of course, we've got to face the Motor City Machine Guns, which we hadn't advertised, so we couldn't talk about it the other day. Mm-hmm. But only if we leave as champions, obviously. And Gargano does he? Yes, but and the duo are like, oh, brilliant. He's great.
Immediately love the chemistry between these two.
Oh.
Pretty deadly as the like foils, I guess, for DIY and not really realizing that they're being played and used and all that sort of thing. Just straight away felt like it was adding to this really quite charming DIY heel turn. We've said before, Gargano has probably been, they've probably lost years of Gargano not being a like comedic dickhead heel through this attempt to try and get him over as a top main roster babyface. In really, like he was that in NXT for a relatively short amount of time, and that was because he became a single star off the back of like one of the sort of all-time team splits. It never materialized for him on the main roster, so I love getting to see him flex his acting chops a little bit. That heel got that smarm that he's got, and then Ciampa now getting to sort of almost reduce his status in these segments works really well for the pair of them. Like when he was trying to convince her, come on, Johnny. And then it turns out it was all Johnny Gargano's like sneaky plan. And now he's thinking, oh, we'll sidle up to these geeks. They'll not realize.
Yeah.
And for the time being, they don't realize. And
it works later on.
Yeah, he gets to sort of think it's the pinky and the brain thing, isn't it? Where they're both, they're both stupid, but the slightly cleverer one, like, has got the stupider one fooled into thinking he's a genius. Like that's Gargano and Ciampa currently. And how you keep that going is by fooling other people into thinking that you're a mastermind, and they've done that.
Yeah,
and
they pick people stupider than them.
Yeah, and you just keep going. Pretty deadly going to find some stupid people at some point. It's just a train of stupid people. It's just stupid people all the way down.
Yeah. But he did come in very useful a little bit later on, which we will get to. Before that,
sorry, no. I'm just trying to. You've got me thinking of Pinky in the Brain now.
Yeah,
and could Gargano and Ciampa be Winky because that's his logo,
nice.
and the vein because Ciampa gets that big vein
Winky
in his head
in the
when he
vein,
gets
I
angry.
like that.
Winky in the vein.
We had can I name them? Yeah, needs to for the song to work. Had two teachers who did like design tech at school. One was like woodwork, one was on metalwork. One was called Mr. Beasting, and one was called Mr. Brain. And
really shoot names.
Shoot names.
Mr. Beasting.
Mr. Beasting. He was a decent teacher actually, but
Beasting or like Beasting.
Was he Mr. Besting, and you just made the best of it, or
no, like
he was Mr. BEE Sting,
Mr. Beasting, right? And he had nothing personal. He was a ginger man.
Oh dear.
So we used to sing Beasting and the Brain. It's Beasting and the Brain. One's a ginger twat, the other's insane. Because Mr. Brain knew his way around a bollocking. So, here we are.
Just like us. You get a sign at WrestleMania, one's a ginger twat and the other one's insane. That's us.
Turn it round.
Edgy
Got him.
Never not make me laugh.
WrestleMania 38 for Edge coming out of that big chair and somebody just turned the sign around so it says Edgy right in his face.
I really get them on that. Oh.
We'll always have Cardiff though. Nice.
That's it. So will Cove, man. You've seen that Collision building, Christ.
Oy.
He wishes he was in Cardiff.
Try and kill someone again on Collision.
No, Moxley did. He was always killing. He
rock and roll, yeah.
Yeah, he captured the Rock and Roll Express and kidnapped them and taped the mouse. It was like,
unfortunately, no time for a Collision review this
it's
week.
Like, do something about it. Do something about it.
Jeff Hardy.
And they did. They just ran to the back and the Death Rider scream, because I think the Outrunners tried to help, and then the Outrunners got decked. So then Cope and FTR are we'll deal with this, and they ran off to the back. And same locker room area where Christopher Daniels bloodied up. Hangman Page.
Is that what happened as well? Yeah. Anyway, I'm not here to talk about that.
Finally got a Monday off, and I'm bringing that to the SmackDown preview.
I talk Christopher Daniels.
That is correct. I did not misspeak.
Yeah. Okay. What?
Yeah. Well, he's not an EVP anymore, is he? And he's bloody lost it. He's had enough.
He's already lost it. That's right. Not sure.
So it was Michin versus Piper Niven. What do they call it? The long back attack.
Yeah.
She wiggled her arse a bit.
Yeah.
After saluting to Chelsea Green. That fire. I like the fact. Don't salute at me.
Meechin,
You don't get to.
Meechin is trying to sort of find what fits as a babyface, which is understandable. But she's always destined to lose the big match.
Especially because, yeah, I get it, she's the babyface, but Chelsea Green's the babyface in everyone's eyes, basically.
Yeah. So, long back attack was one of those moments where it's like, yeah, like in another timeline with another wrestler, that might just be a thing that gets over. But
Piper Niven, obviously, well, it doesn't dominate because Meechin is the better wrestler in story, but keeps getting bloody distracted by Chelsea Green being out there. So that allows Niven to hit a sidewalk slam to take us to a break. When we come back, Meechin fights back. She keeps going for eat defeat, but Niven keeps countering. She sends her into the corner, but misses a cannonball. Meechin, this is the bit where she saluted Chelsea Green and hit a Pele kick on Niven for a 2 count. Goes up top, but Niven moved and hit a Piper driver on Meechin for a 2, set up for that Vader bomb of hers. But Meechin gets to her feet. Oh, sorry, gets her feet up, I should say, and then does manage to hit the eat defeat to get the 1-2-3 and presumably set up a rematch.
Yeah, maybe, hands up. Maybe I was wrong about the secondary women's titles because this match was only all right, but it has
justification.
Well, this is it. It's still you're forcing people's hands, which is never the narrative that you're supposed to apply to. You should just do it to do it. You've got wrestlers on your roster, but nonetheless, Chelsea Green's an over character who Chelsea Green.
Chelsea Green. I forgot to do it. Sorry,
my apologies. She's an over character, which should be enough, right? It was when they were having a feud and it ended with the dumpster match. But the belt has been the reason to come back to this and do it again. And if you look, as far as representation goes, the women's division and the tag division had a very good night here.
Yes.
Cody Rhodes featured at the beginning with Owens, and then that was it.
Mm-hmm.
So
you had a bit of a row with the SmackDown GM a little bit later.
That's right. Sorry, yeah. So the rest of it was for the other two divisions, and that's the bonus of an extra hour and the potentially the bonus of an extra belt. So maybe if this is the model going forward, it's better for everyone.
Yeah. After this was the Paul Heyman metal detector spot and Naomi vignette. I don't trust her no more.
No.
I always watch it like that. Yeah, it's all kind of worked out pretty nicely for you, hasn't it?
Well, it did until tonight, didn't it? So.
Well, now maybe that's... But a spectacular match, but we'll get to that because before that, it was time for Paul Heyman to come out and do his ladies and gentlemen thing. He's here to set something straight. On Monday, we're going to find out who the real tribal chief is, but he is wearing a jacket with a little red pocket square in.
Yeah.
What's going on there? That looks a little bit like the ridiculous outfit that Solo Sikoa first. But he talked about them preparing. You know, Batista was going to be the next in line when Triple H stepped aside. Sorry, no. Solo was going to be the next in line when Roman stepped aside. Yeah. But obviously Roman just couldn't resist murdering Seth Rollins again at WrestleMania, and Cody obviously took his chance. Fair play to him. He's the world champion. That's where Solo saw an opportunity. He stole the Ula Fala from Roman's bag, and that twisted son of a bitch didn't earn it. He stole it, says Heyman. He got rid of me. The wise man got rid of Jimmy because no sane man would acknowledge Solo, and he brought in people that aren't welcome here. Tama Tonga, Tongaloa, Jacob Fatu, who's not even welcome outside the US prison system, which is a nice line. Only those men would acknowledge Solo. But on Monday, no rules, but there must be a winner and loser in tribal combat. And the winner and the only tribal chief will be Roman Reigns. But before he can do the whole spoiler gimmick, well, he sort of does and doesn't. Yeah. He's interrupted by Solo Sikoa on his own, fair play, just to kill a 50-something-year-old. How old's Paul Heyman?
I'll say
58.
I think he is 54.
Nicholas, what are you guessing? Paul Heyman's age?
55.
He's 59.
59. Do you know why then? I've got myself mixed up there. Yeah, I knew he had a significant birthday in 2020. So that would have been 55.
Yes.
His birthday, oddly, I don't know why I know this, is on September 11th.
It is.
Yeah. 55 he turned on September 11th, 2020. And that was when, on his 55th birthday, they debuted the character Wobbly Walrus.
Happy birthday.
Which is not on. You do.
We're not endorsing it.
No.
I was just thinking of something else funny.
Me too. I was thinking of something funny somebody said at work.
So Solo comes in, stares at Paul Heyman, who says he's 10 seconds away from soiling himself because last time they killed him in front of his children, put him through a table in front of his kids. It's probably going to happen again tonight, but Solo does give him the mic. Heyman does. Solo asks Phoenix to acknowledge him, probably for the last time, and then says, and I think you should acknowledge the truth. You owe CM Punk a favor, but you know me a favor, actually, because I need someone to hold the Ula Fala during tribal combat, someone we can trust, someone who won't disrespect the family or the Ula Fala. Look, if Roman beats me on Monday, I'll watch you put the Ula Fala around his neck, and I will acknowledge him as the tribal chief. But when I beat Roman, says Solo, you will put the Ula Fala back on me. Everyone will know I own it. I'm the tribal chief, and you're my wise man forever. Interesting stipulation.
Yeah.
And at that point, Roman Reigns will have no choice but to acknowledge me.
This was quite a nice primer for Raw, and now it's Monday, and here we are. So it was pretty exciting then. It's even more exciting now because it's just hours away. What I found interesting about this, more than just this is like fair enough. It's effectively a go-home promo without Reigns in the building for a match that's taking place on Raw, was how much other stuff they decided to cover. Like Paul Heyman effectively just doing a big exposition dump of everything about the new bloodline.
Yeah.
Felt interesting because it could end up being its eulogy, couldn't it?
Yeah.
If Solo loses, then there's not a lot for the new bloodline to have to do other than to try and be even more vicious and become something else. You know, they've not got a tribal chief anymore to acknowledge. So if anything, that might eventually scan as him doing a kind of wrap-up of this entire story. But then across the course of the interview when Solo interrupted and beforehand, the mentions of the favour to CM Punk, the referencing of the specifics of how Roman lost, like it's on Heyman's mind that Roman chose to attack Seth Rollins rather than simply win the match. And it's Heyman referencing that as a way that, like, he's still angry about that. He's still like, Roman, you made a bad choice.
And he openly said, you were the next tribal chief in waiting, effectively.
But you sort of speed ran it, and we crowned you. Roman made a mistake in following his heart when he attacked Seth instead of just getting the job done against Cody. And the mention of Seth, and are these two things related because it's Seth versus Punk tonight? A favour for Punk could well be helping Punk win, even if Punk hasn't asked for it, because he doesn't want to see another one of his men let their emotions rule against Seth Rollins. You know, like Hart won over head at WrestleMania and it cost Roman everything. Heyman doesn't want to see Punk do the same, something like that. I just thought it was interesting that all of these...
Paul Heyman's always got his eye on the next person to attach himself to, hasn't he?
Yeah. And I just thought it was...
Sometimes that's the big show.
Well, too often it was the big show, yeah. It just felt more economical than simply a go-home promo for Tribal Combat. Felt there was more going on.
Then we got the tag team title match. DIY, Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa versus the Motor City Machine Guns. There was a nice video from them as well, talking about their history with DIY. They fit in so well immediately, haven't they, on SmackDown?
Yeah. Yeah, they have. I don't know how I want to put this. They have fit in, but I think maybe they're fitting too well.
Okay.
I don't think they're interesting. It doesn't feel dreamlike that the Motor City Machine Guns, like indie royalty, TNA royalty, as far as I'm concerned too, are on WWE TV, and that's magic. And they've, like, the best moment was the booking of them winning the belts. Not even really the matches, and not the matches since, and not this match. And I don't think I get who they are. You know, John Cena to Becky Lynch. Who are you? I'm the Irish Lass Kicker. Well, what's that?
Yeah.
I don't think they've captured the sort of mischievous side of the Motor City Machine Guns. Like, they could be baby faces, but they were cocky ones.
Yeah.
They have started to become veterans, so you kind of then have to sort of, there's got to be an element of sort of gravitas. It can't just be that you're dicking around anymore and pointing at your hand because you've done it all. You know, your favourite tag team, all that kind of thing. I don't really know who they are. Like, I know now who DIY are.
Do you think they could be drafted?
Possibly.
I think I could see that on the cards.
Yeah. Because you kind of don't want to just beat them down and out of this division, do you? But the characters haven't been... The best thing that came out of any of these promos of the last few weeks with the Guns is that they were like, well, we won the belts in our third match, and you had to go to all of this trouble to get them off us. We'll get them back. Which puts over how good they are and how winning they are. But I don't really know this Sabin and Shelley.
Okay.
Whether they're coming out and they're just kind of... To be honest, you know what they are? They're a bit babyface DIY.
Yeah.
A little bit. And they're supposed to be the forefathers of all of that, so they should be, what's that thing like, I taught you everything you know, but I didn't teach you everything I know. I'm not really getting that from them just at the moment. Match was fine, but that was my takeaway from the video. I think I need a bit more from these.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know what, though.
The match was always enjoyable with these four men in there. Sabin dives through Shelley's legs as both members of DIY are on the outside to take us to an early break. We come back. Heels are in control. But Ciampa runs into a leaping kick from Sabin. Shelley gets the hot tag and gets in there with Gargano. Sabin comes back in, hits stereo splashes. They both hit splashes on Ciampa and Gargano on the outside. They work a series of double team moves on Gargano, but Ciampa breaks up the pin. Loads of super kicks in there. Everyone's down. Sabin comes in, and there's some double team moves from the Motor City Machine Guns on Ciampa. They set up for Skull and Bones, but out comes Pretty Deadly. Distract them. DIY take advantage. It looks like DIY are going to win and retain the titles with their fairy tale ending super kick combo. But Shelley kicks out really well. Really good late kick out here. Here comes Legado, Los Garza, whatever we're calling them, to chase off Pretty Deadly. Motor City Machine Guns might be about to regain the titles, in fact. They've done the classic DIY double submission spot. As it looks like they're both looking at, are we going to bloody ow. The brawl spills in, so it's not like Pretty Deadly come in and break it up. I think one of Pretty Deadly gets tackled by one of Los Garza
running
onto
away,
the pile,
yeah.
And it ends up in a no contest. But more to come from these.
Yeah. DIY have probably got to win in the end, haven't they? They've probably got to beat the Guns somehow. They'll probably cheat to win. I did like that the finish we arrived at was the double tap, was the DIY revival ending, whatever you want to call it. But it was just wrestling. Saw a Kenny Omega promo video in the build up to the Wrestle Dynasty match where he was like, I'm sick of everything. Everything's same. And it's like a criticism that we've had of a lot of these matches where, like, unless they're just smashing through a ceiling, they're just hitting up against it, never breaking through, and this was that for me. Didn't quite connect, but wasn't a complete waste of my time. I do think the division is showing real signs of life, and I can appreciate the booking, and I can appreciate the overlap, even if the action wasn't totally up to what I would have expected.
My Queen Nia, is in the locker room getting ready for a title defense later. Where's Tiffany Stratton? And Candice is a brilliant foil for all this. Yeah. Don't worry about her. You've got me.
Good stuff.
And she says, about that. Make sure Bianca doesn't bloody interfere later. You got it, boy. Sami Zayn's walking backstage and runs into Mello. And Mello's like, how'd you beat last week? And I didn't see all this, but I knew what happened. And I was like, And Zayn's like, don't think you did. And Mello says, well, you and bloody Braun Strowman get this work. And I was like, that's a big talk for you, Mello, that. Anyway, the Usos walk up behind Mello and go, got a problem? And Mello, for a split second, Mello's like, no, don't worry, boys. We think, bollocks, the Usos, son of Sami Zayn. So he just storms off. And Zayn's like, I'm going to go and get ready. For a split second, I thought he's going to get his head caved in backstage and miss this main event. Because he's like, I'm just going to go and get ready, which conveniently moved him out of the way for the Usos, walking and talking like they do, bumping into Kevin Owens. And they say, watch where you're going. He goes, watch your back. So again, almost a Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn thing, but not quite.
Second week in a row, and they're playing with it, and it's really, really fun, isn't it? Like, it's sort of intoxicating, the prospect of them.
How ridiculous are they going to get with this? Is it going to be like the Usos are there, just like, bloody blood, new bloodline or whatever, and Sami Zayn's like, yeah, quite right. Oh, sorry, boys, I've just got to tie my shoe. All right, Kev, what are you doing? What'd I miss?
Does the Austin Powers thing where he's going down like the pretend escalator, but it's a real one. You think, Sami's doing his trick, going behind the sofa. Boop, 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 boop. Where's he actually gone? Well, but you say it's like, how much can they stretch it? I think that's a bit unfair. Like, that can just happen in reality. Like, you know, Stacks off our podcast.
From Tuesdays?
Yeah, well, it's Tuesdays and Wednesdays to us, but you miss him all the time
you're
on Wednesdays.
joking.
Like, it's, you know, like...
my bloody weak bladder.
I know. It's Wednesday week bladder. What we
I
always
need
say.
to come up with a better reason a different reason to nip off the podcast, really, don't I?
But all I'm saying is, because that happens in reality,
Yes.
so too can happen with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
So I don't see what.
Well, you'll be good. You missed the bloody collision cops on our Christmas special.
I know.
So it happens to the best of us.
Collision cops, like.
I'd like to
meeting
point
you.
out it never happens to me.
Yeah. You
I'm
have to sit
always
through everything.
Forever.
Yeah.
I never miss any of you. I see you all. I've seen everything.
Sits through all of it.
Cody's walk. Oh, yeah. Anything more you want to say about KO?
I saw a tweet, and I wish I could remember who mentioned it, about Carmelo Hayes, and I just love it, and I think I'm going to apply this to him now. His character is he has a compulsion to talk shit. No matter how much trouble it gets him in, no matter how false it is, he cannot not do it. Like when he once said he was him and believed it, that was because that was the character. Mm-hmm. It is so clearly not the character anymore, but nobody's told Carmelo it is. It got him in that bother with Cody Rhodes, didn't it? Of all the people that could have spoke up, well, I'm just saying, people saying, you're kind of in the wrong, mate. What? Yeah, that would be your opportunity to be like, yeah, nothing, sorry. I'm saying, Cody, everyone in the locker room kind of thinks you're an asshole. It's happened again with, like, I'm going to buy
I
that
like
now.
this. I want every time. Goldberg's going to be on this show.
Yeah.
Is he? I never thought he was that good.
Yeah,
Anyway.
never liked him, never rated him. You probably want to keep that to yourself. What does that mean? Like, I think that's who I think Carmelo Hayes is now, yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of Cody, he's walking backstage. SmackDown GM, I can't remember what his name is, walks up to him and says, what's wrong with you? You're a loose cannon. You're hell-bent on not making it to the Royal Rumble. Please, Cody, think about your future. If you don't, I will.
That means.
Cody says, SmackDown GM, can't remember what your name is. You're the boss, but I'm the champ. And because of that, I've got the ability to call my shot. If I see Kevin Owens or anyone who looks like Kevin Owens, what's that supposed to mean?
Just.
I'm going to drop them on sight.
Well,
Who else? No offense, but who else looks like Kevin Owens?
I mean, well, I'll tell you who. The 15 stand-ins over the next few weeks that are like running cable or fixing some backstage props that Cody Rhodes just decks, and he's allowed to, apparently. Yeah, he's gone up to Nick, shut up, you boring bitch. Like, he's just decking. It's that Stone Cold Seth Rollins week that you loved.
Oh, yeah.
Battering Borrow.
It's great, that.
That's supposed to be a babyface thing. It's like, Cody's like, I'm really sorry I beat up you doing your job, but maybe you should have shaved your beard so you didn't like Kevin Owens. That's on you, if anything.
Is it a bit like when at like Glastonbury, you see like, oh, wait a second, on this small, tiny stage, there was a band called the FF, and people were like, Foo Fighters doing a little secret gig, and they turned up and it was just a band called the FF. It was like, boo!
I'd quite like it if there was a situation that, I don't know how you would get to this, but like, so Kevin Owens wears like basketball shorts and a t-shirt.
Yeah.
So let's say there's just a game going, like the wrestlers are killing time before a taping, and there's a hoop outside, and like Austin Theory is wearing basketball shorts and a t-shirt, and he happens to have a beard and dark hair, and Cody's like just wails on him, just runs into the shot and absolutely destroys him while you look like Kevin Owens.
Kevin is just walking out. Yeah, got the Cody bus over there. Yeah. Who's that car? That's for Mr. KO, right? Smashes it up, slashes the tyres, and it's like, I don't know, Keith Orville. Keith and what's his name? Keith? Is that right? Is he called Keith Orville?
No, it's I've met him. He was awful.
Yeah,
Orville
that era,
Connors
isn't it?
and Keith.
He's called Keith, though, isn't he?
He's
not called Keith Orville. That's his mate.
Not Orville's the duck. Yeah. It'll come to me. It'll
Drive
come to
you
me.
quack as this, won't it?
I was going to say KO, and actually somebody had missed the initial, and it was RKO, and that's how they get back to.
Oh, I thought you meant Kyle O'Reilly for a second.
It's Kyle O'Reilly. What bloody hell did I do? I was up all night editing videos. I bought that Lambo with video editing money.
RKO, that makes a lot more sense.
RKO. Yeah.
Or it could
Or
be
is this-
just Kim Orton's wife.
Kim
Yes.
Orton.
And she might just be dressed like Kevin Owens for
Or
no reason.
like-
Keith Harris.
Keith Harrison Orville, there
Keith
we go.
Harrison Orville.
That's his car, and it's been smashed up by
He
Kevin
smashed
Owens.
up Keith Harris's car. Orville's like, no. Orville's doing all, mate. Keith Harris has got his hand up his arse. Orville's just sat there. Orville's in the boot.
He saw it all.
Orville's on fire because Cody set the whole thing ablaze.
No. But
awful vibe.
Well, like they're obviously doing like a tour, and and he's like, oh, who's the present for? And they're in Newcastle. And he says, Walkie, KO, is it?
I love how you were like backing out of that halfway through. Who's the I don't know, the present for? Can't even complete your own bit, and you started to lose interest. We don't do bits. Starting to lose interest in it along the way.
Someone's written okay, but they've put it next to a mirror.
I love this new CD, because we've got CDs back apparently. What's the band called? Okay, go, but he's looking at it wrong. He beats the band.
KO Go, is it? KO Og, actually.
All of those treadmills, and you just smash out of them.
Who was it you had on this, if they said KO's name? Who was that?
Oh.
You get banned or you get sent home or something. What was that nonsense?
Yes, I do remember that. I remember that bollocks.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Yeah, good.
Somebody will remember and they will let us know.
Oh, I'm sure they will.
Because I remember that, yeah. You couldn't say KO. Any other letters in the alphabet.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, is there any other Kevs? He texts like Kevin Thorne or something.
Yeah.
We've got a legend coming back.
Kevin Webster.
Kevin Webster, yeah.
Kevin Keegan.
Kevin Davis, SKD, legend. Don't want to see him getting beaten up.
I was going to say, I didn't want to mention Kevin Phillips because I don't want him getting beaten up. He's in a little Cody will absolutely batter him.
I imagine him mistaking Kevin Phillips. No, Quinn get it as well. What's the matter?
Oh, no, Quinn could take Cody. No, Quinn could take half the roster. He's 6'12".
Quinn's going to finish the story. So, yeah. More on that. That's what we can get it. We'll keep an eye. We'll tell you what, on the preview, remind me, we'll do some more pictures for Kevin Owens Cody Rhodes attacking random people.
Yeah. How are we going to get there?
Yeah. But instead, now we'll talk about the women's world title match, the WWE Women's Championship. It was my Queen Nia versus Naomi. This match was great. I think this was a real benefit. Me and Andy were talking about this on the news. It's a real showcase of, and I know they've talked about like Blair Davenport and giving more people, which is quite right, more time on a 3-hour SmackDown. But Andy made a really good point, which was like, didn't feel like they put lots more stuff on this show. They just gave more time to things. Yeah. This is a perfect example. This match went nearly 20 minutes.
Yeah, didn't feel it, mind.
But it was, it just flew by. And I think we all went in going, well, Naomi's not, well, the best that can happen is Naomi wins the title and gets cashed in on. But in all likelihood, Nia Jax retains one way or another. And that's exactly what happened. But I was so into it. Jax dominates early. She poses as Naomi's been headbutted out to the floor early on to take us to a break. Naomi keeps fighting back, but Jax keeps cutting her off. There's a body slam from her and an elbow drop. Gets run into the ring post, and then there's that bit. I love that move where she like smashes her head. She like crushes it against the ring post. Nia gets a 2 count from that. But Naomi counters a lift effectively from Nia Jax into a sunset flip and a pin. Jax, bloody hell, jumps up, clotheslines Naomi, sets up for a finisher, but Naomi kicks the leg out of her leg and hits that double stomp and a split leg drop for a 2. Jax panics, runs at Naomi after getting up, but Naomi moves and Jax runs straight into the ring post. Naomi hits a suicide dive on the outside, hits some double axe handles once they get back in. There's a sort of Samoan drop from Naomi in there for a great 2 count.
That's awesome. She sets up for a split-legged moonsault, but Jax cuts her off, puts her in a tree of woe, hits a leg drop from the second rope for another good 2 count. She sets up for a finisher again, does Nia Jax, but Naomi pulls her off the ropes and hits a tornado DDT for a 2. Another draping DDT gets another near fall as we go to another break. When we come back, Naomi hits a blockbuster for a 2 count as they talk about her just basically surviving during the commercials. And then Naomi picks up Nia Jax and slams her down for a fantastic 2.9. Yep.
In amongst all this, Bianca Belair and Candice LeRae get involved, brawling on the outside. Jax gets out of a submission and gets involved with the title and Bianca Belair to break it all up. Jax goes to the second rope. Naomi cuts her off. Jax counters with an attempted power slam, but Naomi counters that with a great slam of her own. They're both down. It's Tiffy time! Here comes Tiffany Stratton, and she looks like she's finally going to cash in whilst they're both down, make it a triple threat match. But at the last second, whilst the referee's busy, stop it, you two, with Candice and Bianca Belair, Tiffany Stratton just runs up and nails Naomi with the briefcase. She's in position. Nia Jax hits her finisher. 1, 2, 3. She retains.
I love this. And it's not the first really good Nia Jax Naomi TV match as well. They've had good chemistry in the past. That spot that they've workshopped to perfection, because it was ultimately what gave them the double down, where it's like that kind of like the snap element of the slam, like the crucifix slam.
Yeah, last second.
Over the top. It's brilliant, man. Because it's so, there isn't really a margin for error.
No.
If Naomi doesn't rotate all the way through, it just looks like an offensive move by Nia Jax.
Yeah.
But they've got loads of little, like, I don't know, like spots together, I guess. Like just they know where to put them at this point as well. There's several things they do together that look really snug, really believable. And Nia Jax has had this weird run as champion where I feel as though, and like I get it, it kind of hit me over the weekend, where we've been broadly positive, and then undeniable Turkerinos along the way.
Yeah.
Women's War Games, disaster. Bailey, Bad Blood, stinker.
Yeah.
Like, there has been some awful, awful stuff. But what a TV like performer she's been. Like the Naomi matches, the tag matches with Tiffany Stratton across SmackDown, and then in the build-up to War Games on Raw as well, where she was used to perfection as the unstoppable force, you know. The match she had with Michin, the weapons brawl.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Like, en route to it, I always go back to the Lyra Valkyria one. That still might be my favourite of the lot. The Queen of the Ring final. There have been these moments, and it is strange that there's still been, oh, is she the worst wrestler of all time? Because there has been flashes of that, truthfully. But when it's good, it's really, really good. And really hot as well. Like, this building was invested in this, all of it. And, yeah, what do you say the time on this match was?
About 20 minutes.
That's amazing. That's remarkable to me. I would have had this at like a nice, tight sort of 10, 11 minutes. Heads to finish. Everything, like, doesn't miss his peak, all of that sort of stuff. I thought they nailed this. Really, really good bit of business. I watched this on Saturday morning, and like it was my match of the year for a good 24 hours. So
probably still is mine.
Yeah, you're looking for Raw to top it tonight.
Yeah,
excellent.
Or maybe actually the match that came afterwards might have been my match of the year.
Right? Yeah.
Because Nia Jax is celebrating. There's Candice. There's Tiffany. Everything's great. It's all fine. And Nia Jax just can't help herself. I would kick the crap out of Bianca Belair a little bit more. She attacks her, and Stratton, out of nowhere, Candice LeRae's gone. Nia Jax, wham! With the briefcase. Of all the teasers, it's finally happening. And after hitting her with the briefcase and getting Candice out of there, Bianca Belair, it's been glossed over somewhat.
Yeah.
Hits a KOD on Nia Jax. I'm sorry.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Jesus Christ.
That's how good it was.
That's how good the KOD was. It knocked the wall down.
Earth-shattering stuff.
Break the walls down.
We've only feeling the reverberations of it now.
That's the wall, brother. So, yeah. She's taken her out.
Yeah.
And then Stratton goes, thanks for that, Bianca. And just hoys her over the commentary table. And finally, she cashes in. Get out of the way, you. Not you. You're all right. Sorry, I didn't see that.
The little propeller spinning. Don't worry, mate. I'll speak to HR.
Oh, dear.
Bell rings. Prettiest moonsault ever. 1, 2, 3. Tiffany Stratton is your new world champion.
We did talk about the possibility of this as there's got to be something that's like the headline from the first night in the USA. It was one of the things, wasn't it, where if it didn't happen, the rationale would be, well, it's this YouTube one-off and then we start Netflix proper next week.
Okay.
Thanks, Nia.
Friendship ended with the Queen.
Otherwise, impeccable cash-in. Brilliant.
The noise!
Yeah.
I know it's a cash-in, but even so.
Huge reaction all the same. And how good did Tiffany Stratton look? Like, so smart in thinking everything through. Like, screws over Naomi to, like, keep Nia Jax's trust to be able to take her down when she's still tired, but she's going to be even weaker when she turns her back. It's not just about the physical weakness, it's about the mental one, and she's been willing to turn her back enough for her to smash her with the case, so then she puts her down physically again. In the meantime, does not stop and have some sort of like concessionary agreement with Bianca Belair.
No.
Just waits for Bianca to do some of the damage herself and take advantage of that as well, and then throws her
Set
over
up
the
like
desk.
3 different title challenges straight away.
Shows absolutely no interest in the welfare of anybody else in the division, because the Money in the Bank briefcase is an inherently selfish act. You are cashing it. It's why it's so difficult for babyfaces to sort of do as good a job as a heel, I guess, even though the pops, as you say, are always amazing, because it's just a cool moment to be in the crowd for. When you experience one, you kind of think, oh, this is, I think I've seen 2 cashed in real life maybe, and it is, the whole building comes up for it because there's just that sense of excitement. It's the purest form of a pro wrestling cheat code in the sense, because a title change in any era still means something to you if you're in the building for it.
Yeah.
And the sense amongst the fans that it's happening, just the way that sort of energy bubbles and threatens to boil over to the point where there's this nervous tension that when the 3 is struck, everybody can finally have this release.
Yeah.
Heel or babyface, it's like even the shock of it is enough. She got that, but it was how they executed it and how smart they made her look in the process. What that's done is kind of almost right around some like middling booking where it was starting to look a bit silly that she would constantly tease.
Yeah.
You were risking, we talked about this, making her
Well, I
look
did a
stupid.
split second of like, oh, she's teased
Yeah.
another cash in.
That was
But
becoming the feeling, wasn't it? And now it's done and it's over and she's the top of the tree. Brilliant.
I'm so excited to see where this goes next as well.
Yeah.
Ecstatic when this happened. You can probably guess the time I watched this show because I tweeted pretty much instantaneously. Did anyone got the time or something? Tiffy time.
It's like that. When I first saw Roman, the Roman Reigns Netflix advert at the train station, so worried that I was that the picture was just going to disappear, and then it was like, was that just a figment of my imagination? I just see Netflix posters everywhere. I just got the phone out, snapped the picture straight away, and just posted it. And I look back at it, it's this awful, it's so blurry.
It's really blurry,
Oh
yeah.
man, I was just too excited. There's a snap like that. It happened, it was real. He's still there today. Could have taken a picture any other week.
Yeah.
Tribal Chief's there every single day at Newcastle Station.
But that wasn't even the main event of the evening. It was the New Bloodline versus the Usos and Sami Zayn. Before that, well, there's a vignette setting up the big match for Raw tonight, of course. And there's the awesome Jacob Fatu. I love you, Solo! And he cuts a promo saying how he's going to show the world what happens when you don't acknowledge the one and only Tribal Chief.
Where's the first half, Forrest Gump? I love you.
I love you, Solo. You're my best friend.
Fatu Gump.
That's his face. In amongst all this, though, Byron Saxton catches up with the former US champion, L.A. Knight.
Yeah.
He said he'd been talking to the SmackDown GM, but he can't remember what his name is.
No.
And talked about Nakamura attacking him, return the favour. US title match this week, basically. We'll preview that later on after this insane week is nearly finished.
Yeah.
And
Friday feels like about a year away. Doesn't it?
does,
There's so
doesn't
much
it?
exciting stuff.
New Year's Evil Fallout, and then of course SmackDown. That's pretty much it.
Is that everything?
I don't think anything else is
Anyone
happening
back on
this week.
Dynamite on Wednesday?
Not that I've seen, mate.
No. We'll fill you in on the review of a certain wrestler's work at Dynasty.
Who's that?
I'll mention him on the podcast
Okay.
coming later on live on YouTube.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna do this.
Oh my god.
I should have done that for
Oh
the
my
Tiffs
god.
one.
Oh my
Another one for
god.
Tiff. One more
Oh
for
my
Tiff.
god.
And then this for the. I still never get tired of the Usos or Jay, I suppose specifically, but they're all doing it. The entrance.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
This felt like it went about 5 minutes.
It was great. Total state of euphoria. Lillian Garcia, who
Oh,
Oh my
might have
god.
gone through the transfer window, I guess.
of course.
Funny when Drew couldn't remember what that was called. Did you spot that? Yeah, bloody SmackDown portal or something. It's like, Drew, that's one about transfer window's one of ours, isn't it? You know that. She was
You see why they called it a local medical facility for so long? Do you see this? Hear
No.
about this? JBL on the Something to Wrestle podcast, one of the best podcasts out there that's not ours, revealed that Vince said it so people didn't, if he just said hospital, he was worried that people were either going to show up or ring hospitals because of the events they've seen on television, which thankfully never happened because they said local medical facility. No one ever rang to
Right.
report crimes or check that, people hadn't died in massive car explosions.
Yeah, you'd have to be pretty thick to watch a segment of Monday Night Raw where billionaire chairman and your personal friend dies on camera in a limo explosion and then ring up to pay your respects out of fear that he's dead. You need to be pretty thick, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
And kind of give people like that big jobs. Kind of give them big tasks and responsibilities.
So it was Solo, Jacob. And
That was it. Yeah, she announced them as Jimmy, Sammy, and Jey Uso,
oh, yes.
which is nice.
I should just, I'll change my notes, just say the Usos versus the New Bloodline. They all brawl to start off with, of course they do. Zayn does well for a while against Solo Sikoa, but gets caught with a spinning Solo to take us to a break. When we come back, Samoan drop from Solo. Zayn fires back. Tama Tonga comes in and just beats the crap out of Sami Zayn. Did he owe him money or something?
Tama Tonga's at the moment wrestling for his future.
He is.
Like, he doesn't know what's to come, but he's making sure that he's got a job at the end of it.
Fatu comes in, kills him. I love you, Solo. That's how he says it.
What did he say?
I love you, Solo.
And what did he say, though?
I love you, Solo. That's how he says it.
Yeah, that's how he does it, yeah. I hope you meet him at WrestleMania weekend.
Do you reckon he's going to get him a Valentine's gift? I love you, Solo. He's a teddy bear.
No, like a box of chocolates.
Solo always said. So, most terrifying man in WWE, kills everyone here.
Yeah.
Zayn hits a blue thunder bomb on Solo Sikoa, gets a hot tag to Jay. So does Tama comes in, Jay kicks his ass. Jimmy comes in, Stereo and Seguris, Jimmy and Jay take on Jacob Fatu. He gets clotheslined over the top rope. There's a pop-up neck breaker on Tama Tonga for a 2. There's a brawl on the outside. Fatu comes in after Tonga DDT Jay for a near fall. Jay super kicks him, tags in Zayn, who tags in Jimmy, and they do a series of hip attacks on Jacob Fatu, and then suicide dives onto Tama Tonga and Solo Sikoa. Jimmy sort of hits an Uso splash, but I'm going to forgive him because the last time he did this, I'm fairly certain he broke his toe.
Yes.
So it looked a bit iffy there. Plus it's Jacob Fatu, who just gets up anyway, super kicks him, goes up top, and here's how you hit a splash, and then a moonsault straight away. It's always astonishing the way the speed that he can move.
Yeah.
Zayn breaks up the pin, so Fatu throws him over the top rope. Jimmy, though, runs Jacob Fatu into the corner, and Jay comes in, and they hit a double super kick for a 2 count. But then here comes Drew McIntyre. That distracts Jay, does a dive onto Drew, goes back in, goes up top, but as a result of the delay, misses the splash onto Jacob Fatu, who hits a pop-up Samoan drop. Sikoa tags in. Jay super kicks Solo. Jay spears Fatu, but he doesn't realize that Jacob Fatu's not the legal man. And Jay goes up top, hits the splash, and as he's there going for the pin, in comes Solo and just Samoan spikes the crap out of him to get the 1, 2, 3. The New Bloodline stand tall to close out this first ever episode of 3-hour SmackDown.
Yeah, it would be cruel to call the work in this basic, but the agenting layout of it and the placement of it realistically was basic in the extreme, in that it felt as though they knew, they being WWE, Triple H, whoever, knew that a long match, longish, with some of the biggest stars would suffice as a TV main event because the biggest thing had happened. I'm not saying it couldn't follow Naomi and Nia and the Tiffany cash-in. However, when we were talking about Saturday night's main event, how they would always open with the biggest stuff because it was early at night, and then by sort of post-midnight, almost doesn't matter if the show goes off the air in the middle of a Young Stallions tag team match because you had your Hogan. There was a little bit of an element of that where the cash-in and the match that followed were kind of amazing and felt main event-like. And then that was probably the biggest reminder of, we're in the 3-hour era now and there's something else still to go. And what was bad for this week's episode was that it all had to exist as a bit of a, yeah, but this isn't the real deal. The real deal is Monday on Netflix.
The real
and
quiz
it's gonna,
is, yeah. But
it's gonna factor in all
we
these-
all knew who was winning this, yeah.
Yeah. So it took something out of it. Perfectly good work. I would classify this as elevated house show stuff, quite honestly.
Yeah.
And a win for the baddies instead of the goodies. So it's fine.
I just can't wait for tonight.
Me neither. And this is it. I'm talking about how the last thing they aired before the Netflix era began proper was a Just Fine tag. But the promotion for this, new era, debut, whatever, has been so effective that I've used these words a lot in the last couple of years. You can't wait to step back into the world. Nothing on the SmackDown was going to change my opinion on this, but nothing was so bad that I was like, I'm kind of not in the mood for Raw now. And I couldn't be more hyped. It's all of these people and some others. It's great.
Well, let us know your thoughts on SmackDown in the comments or on X at WhatCulture WWE. Well, actually, you can follow all three of us. Of course, you can follow Michael Hamflett at...
Michael Hamflett.
You can follow our brilliant producer at...
It's Adam Nicholas.
Follow me at Adam Wilbourn. Follow us all at WhatCulture WWE. And speaking of Raw, we've already recorded our preview for that show. If you want to know our thoughts, you can either watch that or you can listen to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts from. And as we mentioned, we'll be back a little bit later on to talk all about the New Japan stuff from the weekend as well. But for now, it's been the SmackDown review. My thanks to Hamflett, to Nicholas, to Mike. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon.